I think the biggest thing is still just to know that there are.
But even before the hurricane made landfall, destructive winds lashed the Sunshine State. Officials reporting the most tornado warnings in a day on record. Here's what's left after a tornado destroyed a 10,000 square foot sheriff's facility in St. Lucie County.
It happens in a flash. You know, we're in the building not even 50 yards away, and it's here, it's gone. And there ain't nothing stopping that building coming down. So if your house is coming down on you, nothing's stopping it.
In Fort Myers, one family was inside their home when a tornado ripped through their neighborhood.
We all started going for the hallway, didn't even make it there in time. Started toot toot, and I heard a piece of glass crack and it sucked the whole roof off, and I felt the thing suck me up, and I grabbed my kid and my wife and hunkered down.
The storm also tore.
Wow, just wow. Welcome to Let It Be Known News. That Hurricane Milton is just tearing across Florida. It has flooded the state from coast to coast and knocked out power for more than 3 million homes and businesses. It spewed tornadoes that killed people far from the storm's eye, destroyed homes, and shredded the roof of the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium. As you saw in the opening video there, see this storm's path is just incredible, devastatingly incredible. Milton did hit as a Category 3 storm near Sarasota, halfway down Florida's Gulf Coast. It spent the night slicing across the state, wakening but remaining a hurricane, or weakening, I should say, but remaining a hurricane. It's expected to exit into the Atlantic soon. The full extent of the damage will become clear once the sun really comes up in Florida. Forecasters warn that storm surge could still reach up to 13 feet, bringing a wave to the coast near Tampa Bay. Most of Florida is under a state of emergency. Several counties suspended emergency services because the conditions were just too dangerous. Hurricane Milton was deadly even before it made landslide. As we mentioned, tornadoes spun out of its edges. At least 116 tornado warnings were issued across the state. Tornadoes killed people in Fort Pierce on the East Coast, and search and rescue efforts continue in Fort Pierce and around Fort Pierce now. Florida has been hit by two deadly hurricanes now in 2 weeks. The number of storms in the region varies from year to year, but experts say that storms are turning into hurricanes more frequently because climate change is heating the oceans. Record hot water temperatures fueled Milton, which escalated from a tropical storm to a Category 5 in just one day. Tropical storms are much more likely, according to experts, to turn into strong hurricanes during marine heat waves. Those are now more frequent. Some counties on the west coast of Florida have started recovery efforts, clearing debris and other just down light poles. There was a crane at this building. They said it rose well over 100 feet and it came crumbling down in the Tampa area. Florida officials told more than 7 million people they had told them to evacuate. And that is 7 million people is about a third of the state. Florida has about 22 million residents. Of course, there's the conspiracy theories and the misinformation that continues to spread, that the Biden-Harris administration continues to try and beat back that the lies and misinformation about the storm. And one of the just more asinine things, Representative, and speaking of asinine, I guess the middle name of this person's probably Marjorie Taylor Asinine Green, posted on social media that they control the weather. President Biden called the misinformation very dangerous. About 11 million residents are now at risk of flash flooding. Um, if you are a social media user, you've probably had your timeline just flooded. I hate to use that word, pardon the pun, but flooded with pictures and video and information about this. Folks, take that information, make sure it's accurate information, because a whole lot of misinformation is going on about hurricanes, particularly hurricane relief. And I think it was, in fact, I know it was Power 96. Even before we came on the air, I saw him post that his message to those who have survived the latest hurricanes, and he's a storm survivor too. So this is why one of the reasons why I lift up his comment. But he says, beware of scammers and shady contractors if you decide to rebuild. Please do your research and find someone who is trustworthy. He says they will try to cash in on your pain. Learn how to either do your own repairs or get somebody that you can trust. That scamming is real. And that is the message too from the Biden-Harris administration. The president said that Milton could be one of the worst storms in 100 years in Florida, and he had urged people in the storm's path to evacuate, saying it's a matter of life and death, and that's not hyperbole, he said. He spoke on Hurricane Helene in that response, and of course, Hurricane Milton and the preparations that were being made. He said he spoke to all the the leaders in the region, and told them anything they ask for, they can get. He said he's received a positive response from everyone from the now he said the governors of Florida up to North Carolina, and later we found that he did not know that Governor DeSantis refused to take Vice President Kamala Harris's call, and how uncooperative Ron DeSantis is being, despite being the governor of a state where so many people's lives are at stake here, and he wants to play petty political games. Good morning, the one and only Memphis Jokes. But the president did speak to Tampa Mayor Jane Castor, and he says that DeSantis, Castor, and others has his direct line, his personal number at the White House, meaning they don't have to go through any intermediaries. They can get the president directly on the phone. They let Biden use the phone by himself. The president said thousands of federal personnel have been deployed on the ground across the Southeast, and he called on airlines and other companies to accommodate evacuations and not engage in price gouging. And I saw something, now I haven't been able to verify this, but it got a lot of hits, and I don't remember the person who tweeted it. It got a whole lot of hits, a lot of likes and comments, that there was a Black individual, 20 years old, saved money preparing for this storm, and got himself out, um, trying to get out of harm's way. And as the storm coming, he tried to check into a hotel room, had a credit card apparently and money to check into the hotel room. And the hotel said, our policy is you have to be 21 years of age and older. And as the storm is slamming the area, they turned him away. So you have stuff like that allegedly going on. And I'd love to know more about that. And I'm Gonna try and dig more into that, see that if that is actually accurate, and if so, which hotel was it? Because you will not get my business. The federal government um, is still uh, pouring resources into the Carolinas, Florida, and Tennessee post Hurricane Helene, um, doing everything they can. Again, as we mentioned yesterday, Congress has refused to come back to approve additional FEMA funding, allowing people to just die and suffer because they believe that it's going to get, it's helping somehow the twice impeached, 34 times convicted former president elected. Biden also spoke on misinformation, as we talked about earlier, about the disaster federal assistance. He says it puts people in circumstances where they panic, where they really, really, really worry. He says they think now we are not being taken care of. And that's exactly the point. That's exactly what these outrageously cold-hearted MAGA Republicans want people to think. Even their own people, they're putting them in harm's way, putting their lives on the line because they believe somehow that it's going to get that guy elected. And they don't care how many lives, how many millions have to die. We saw it with COVID. How many people that they allowed to die because of Trump's foolishness? This next story, folks, as we move on, is really it's it's sort of disturbing, but when you put it in the context and think about Breonna Taylor, and people might initially think, what does this have to do with Breonna Taylor? Well, listen to this story, and you'll see the connection that at least this journalist is making, not trying to. A black former Houston police officer was sentenced to 60 years in prison yesterday for the murder of a married couple during a raid that revealed systemic corruption in the department's narcotics unit and prompted criticism of the law enforcement agency and its tactics. Now, listen carefully. It was a raid. Gerald Goings was convicted. Um, this happened The raid happened on January 2019, and Dennis Tuttle, who was 59 years old, and Regina Nicholas, who was 58, the couple was shot along with their dog after officers burst into their home using a no-knock warrant that didn't require them to announce themselves before entering. Prosecutors said Goings lied. He lied to get the search warrant approved, and that his actions were part of a pattern of wrongful drug arrests and convictions of innocent individuals during his 34-year law enforcement career. And full stop. Did you hear the details there? A no-knock warrant, Breonna Taylor. But more importantly, or just as importantly, not more, just they lied to get this. This is all facts from the Breonna Taylor case, and yet those officers are not being held accountable. I mean, there's some federal uh charges that are very light compared to what Goings, and I'm not saying Goings that they should have went easy on this guy because he's black. I'm not saying they should have went easy on him at all. He probably got what he deserved. This according to prosecutors, this has been a pattern throughout his 34-year career. So there should be no mercy for this guy. But the same should apply to Breonna Taylor's situation. This guy, and Goings, this is where folks go wrong. You know what his favorite movie was? Training Day. Denzel Washington. You remember that? King Kong ain't got nothing. Yeah, that's this guy. He patterned himself after Denzel Washington's character in Training Day. And you remember how that ended. The only difference, Mr. Goings, is that Denzel was acting. That was a movie. What a movie your life is about to be. 60 years, the rest of your life as a former police officer who has done dirt to so many for so long. But the point is, um, where's the justice for Breonna Taylor? Where's the justice for Breonna Taylor? This is the exact same situation. And the RNG Power 96 has been up on this. He says that this guy has been extremely dirty. He is responsible for sending at least 100 individuals to prison. And yes, the Houston Forward Times did a great story about him. Black press, y'all. And so and that's the thing. So we can't. He's black. We're the black press. Houston Forward Times, really, really outstanding black newspaper, award-winning black newspaper. Hey, you mess up, we got to take you to task. We got to hold you accountable. This guy, the jury deliberated in this case for more than 10 hours. They also came up with a $20,000 fine. I don't know where that came from, but a $20,000 fine. And then get this. Legal experts have said that it is rare for a police officer to be charged and convicted for an on-duty killing. No kid. No kidding. Ryan Tuttle sat in the on the witness stand in this case. Ryan Tuttle is the son of the victims, and he sat on the witness stand with a framed photograph of his parents, and said his family was still waiting for answers from the now ex-police officer about why he targeted them. Reportedly, Goins never even looked at Tuttle at all while he was on the stand, and he didn't testify. And he listened as the son said, "My father and my stepmother were not involved in any drug dealing." He says they were good people. They did not deserve this. And he stared at Goins as he walked away. Prosecutors asked for a life sentence, and Goins' attorneys had asked for the minimum sentence of 5 years, saying Goins had dedicated his life to keeping drugs off the streets. And they said, "We still don't believe legally that he is guilty," which is a very see. That's that the wording on that is really interesting. They don't believe that he's legally guilty, and that's the thing. Shanae and I have this conversation a lot. The interpretations when it comes to law. And that's a slick word that his attorney threw in there. They don't believe that he's legally guilty. So are they conceding that he is guilty? But what they're saying is that they don't think that it should have been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Because again, if you are acquitted, it doesn't make you innocent. And if you obviously we've learned, especially when it comes to black folks, when you are found guilty, doesn't make you guilty. When you are convicted, doesn't make you guilty. But this is you want the same, and that's so here's the thing. So that is all most African Americans want is good for the goose, good for the gander. They just want fairness. And so in this case, why not the same for the officers in the Breonna Taylor case? Why not the same? And so we don't ask for much as a people, do we? Just fairness. It's not a lot to ask for fairness. Like you go play a game and you just say, play fair. In a boxing match, the referee he stands in the center of the ring and he says, "Clean fight, fellas, clean fight." That's all black folks be wanting. They just want a fair fight, a fair chance. If you give somebody a fair chance and they don't acquit themselves well or don't do right or whatever. It's on them. But when you put the bricks and buildings of systemic racism on your shoulders, it's nothing ever fair. I'd say that individual in that was overly made up. I'm sorry. I gotta say it. I mean, that's just too much makeup. That's just too much makeup for to go to court with. Come on. We can do better than that. That's way too much makeup, Power 96. Tennessee is in the
negatively
bottom.
impacted
Oh, here we go.
thousands
ahead,
of people's lives, including his own families.
Gerald Goins has been a stain on the reputation of every honest cop in our community, a community that he terrorized through corruption worthy of the movie Training Day. He had throwdown weapons. He had throwdown drugs.
Goins preyed on predominantly poor communities who may or may not have the resources to fight back.
Their indictments remain quashed, but those investigations remain open on the other 10 members of Squad 15. Hope they hear me.
We filed our notice of appeal. We think we have some.
Squad 15, she says she hopes y'all hear her. It is, I'm sure, the hope of Houston residents that she makes good on that promise and go after the rest of Squad 15. Throw down weapons and throw down drugs. Did she mean throw away? You know, I don't know. A stash. He says that cop mainly targeted, and that's he mainly targeted black and brown men. A lot of those men are being released from prison. Some have had sentences up to 20 years. That cop arrested, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that out. It was the same cop that arrested George Floyd once. Remember, George Floyd is from Houston. Austin is chiming in. He says, put him under the jail along with his accomplice. Why do people say under the jail? Is there a place that's under the jail? Is there really a place? I think like maybe solitary or something. Is that what we really mean? Put them under the jail. That's when you know somebody's no good, when people start saying under the jail. That's what they're talking about with Diddy, right? Diddy, in fact, is going to be in court, by the way, Tuesday, I believe, next Tuesday. He's going to be in court. His children, his twin girls, and his sons, and his mother all visited him. They were able to finally visit with him, and they report that he's in good spirits, I guess. Really angry. There was a report that said that his lawyers is blaming the Department of Homeland Security for leaking the Cassie video. And his lawyers said that they immediately told the prosecutors and the FBI that they had gotten a call, apparently from CNN, for comment before they released the video. And they immediately alerted prosecutors. And his attorneys believe that his Department of Homeland Security, they believe that they wanted to create a frenzy for Sean Combs's arrest, which it did. It absolutely did. They said that they don't believe that Cassie did it. They said she did not have, according to Diddy's attorney, Cassie had no motive to release that video. And the only other entity was those who raided the home. He also Diddy also complained in a court filing about how they treated his sons, pointing guns at them and putting them in handcuffs during the raid on his home in Los Angeles. He said that they ransacked his home in Miami and Los Angeles and in New York, and unnecessarily. And they were the only ones that could have leaked the tape. And they are looking for some sort of redress from the judge in the case to penalize the prosecution team. So Diddy is, and he's also, for the third time, and he's hoping that the third time is a charm, has filed a petition with the appellate court to have bail in this case. Now, he's also asked that his trial is speedy. He wants to go to trial by April, and according to his attorneys, no later than May. And defendants have a right to a speedy trial, and they want to move this thing forward. It's also come out that he has indeed settled a couple more civil suits against him, and he is also continues to refute many of the suits. And all of this talk about these other celebrities that might be involved. Jaguar Wright got Piers Morgan, or Piers Morgan allowed Jaguar Wright to get him in trouble with Jay-Z and Beyonce's lawyers, and rightfully so. You can't go and make claims public like that and without any semblance of evidence. So this Diddy situation is having a ripple effect. Even 50 Cent, yeah, and we know 50 Cent has harshly and in a lot of ways humorously just went in all in on Diddy. But in one case, the young lady, Greer, you know who I'm talking about, who has claimed that her boyfriend has come out and claimed that she asked or offered to pay him a couple of $1 million to back her stories, alleged lies about Diddy, and 50 Cent went in on her. Diddy found a unlikely defender in that case. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so the case, as it gets closer and closer to Diddy's trial, I'm pretty sure we're going to hear even more wild stories. How about the guy, folks who tried to get Young Miami to sign a bottle of baby oil? I mean, it's out of control. It's totally out of control. I mean, leave that girl. Why would you bother her like that? Why would you do that to her? I mean, is there any evidence that it was a perpetrator at all? No, I've not heard that. I've not heard that. Don't harass the young lady. I don't know her. What is this? Carisha, please, or something like that. I don't know her stuff. I know she's very young. And what the heck was she doing with Diddy is another story at that age. Diddy's 50 some odd years old. But hey, that's what they do. Austin says the DA, Department of Homeland Security, did not assault that woman, and who cares about the condition of his spirit? And Austin is just going off over there. Austin hasn't been in the hot seat in a while. He hasn't sat. I guess he's been ducking me. He hasn't been sitting with me at all lately, and he's throwing bombs. Michelle Madison says, in other news, I received my book yesterday. It was in front of my door yesterday when I got home. Thank you, Michelle. But that's the update on Diddy. There's a headline that says that calls him the diddler. I see it almost every day. It's like the Drudge Report. The diddler. Like, these folks, come on. Again, let the court of law determine if he indeed is the diddler. Folks, so yesterday Greer had mentioned about voter suppression. And it's as real as you can imagine. Tennessee is in the bottom 5 states when it comes to voter turnout. And a new report from the Tennessee Holler newspaper finds that the state policy makes voting even harder for communities of color and disabled voters. The state's elections aren't competitive, according to voting rights nonprofit organized Tennessee. During the last midterm elections, more than half of races in the state were uncontested. While part of that can be attributed to the state's Republican leaning, the study found that racial gerrymandering also plays a role in diluting the power of Black and brown voters. Another factor is the state's felony voting rights restoration process, which affects voters of color at a disproportionately high rate. The study noted that such laws have their origin in the post-Civil War era, of course, right? As a means of preventing newly freed Black people from participating in the democratic process. Today, Asian, Black, and Latino respondents were nearly 4 times more likely to be ineligible to vote than their white counterparts. 4 times. Tennessee's voting restoration requirements don't just disenfranchise Black voters at a higher rate, they also discourage eligible Black voters from participating in elections, the Tennessee Holler reported. States with a higher percentage of Black voters who can't vote because of a felony conviction also experience overall lower voter turnout among Black voters. That's because people in the same community are more likely to go to the polls together, discuss candidates, and share election deadlines, according to the Tennessee Holler. So their policy just makes it almost impossible for Black and brown folks to participate in elections. Well, again, the South, Tennessee, and we're going to stay in the South and go to Durham, North Carolina with this next story, because they're getting ready to pay $1 million to 16 Black folks who were rejected from becoming firefighters after a test used to weed out job candidates was found to be discriminatory. Now they say unintentionally discriminatory. How do you be unintentionally discriminatory? The way you can be unintentionally discriminatory, maybe this is how I. Somebody correct me, and Greer can correct me. Somebody correct me. How I read when you say unintentionally discriminatory, that means that you just a stone cold racist, and that it was like second nature. You wasn't even thinking about it, so it's unintentional. But that's what they said. Well, the city announced that it had settled a lawsuit filed by the U.S. Department of Justice that accused the Durham Fire Department of violating the Civil Rights Act of 1964. At issue was a written test administered since 2015 to screen applicants for entry-level firefighter jobs in Durham. The DOJ found that African Americans disproportionately failed the test when compared to white applicants and were therefore prevented from getting interviews, despite the test not actually being related to the job. You can give of all things, a crucial job like fighting fires. And they don't just fight fires. You know, there are EMS involved with firefighters and stuff like that. It's a lot. That's why they call them first responders. So you give them a test that has absolutely nothing to do with the job. It's like somebody saying, I want to be a journalist. So you give them a test that you would give to somebody who wants to flip burgers. What the heck does that have to do with the other? One has to do with the other. Oh, according to the lawsuit, 37% of Black applicants failed and 11% of white applicants failed, which is a significant difference. And so the DOJ writes that discriminatory employment tests do more than cost applicants a fair chance to compete for public service jobs like firefighting. They also prevent communities from being served in these crucial positions by the most qualified candidates for the job. This is a quote from Attorney General Christian Clark of the Justice Department Civil Rights Division. So much for meritocracy, Mike V writes. Oren G says in the South, some polling stations in predominantly Black areas are shut down a few weeks before the election due to the fact that the U.S. Supreme Court gutted Section 2 of the Civil Rights Bill in 1964. Yep. But the city is going to give these 16 disqualified African Americans the opportunity to become firefighters again. They are giving them the opportunity for prioritized hiring plus back pay from a $980,000 fund that's currently being established. So they're going to be able to split this approximately $1 million, 980,000. Throw in 20,000, you got $1 million. The payouts will vary based on when the person applied. The city and the DOJ have agreed on the terms of the settlement, but a federal court still has to sign off on it. The city's also decided to hire a claims administrator to notify those who were affected. Now, why they don't have a claims administration already is beyond me. Cities smaller than Durham have claims administrators. So, according to the lawsuit, the 100-question multiple choice test, though, if you're interested, was developed by Fire and Police Solutions Incorporated and included 15 reading questions, 20 math questions, 20 writing questions, 15 map reading questions, 30 questions on interpersonal competency and human relations for 2 years, and an additional section added 28 reasoning questions. It's some it's some diabolical work here. It's very diabolical. They do to black folks. What do they do to us? Y'all, we talked about reparations this week. I think after talking about it all, I want some reparations now. I think I want me some reparations. This stuff is giving me a headache. It's giving me flashbacks. You say flashbacks to what? I mean, I feel like it's time for reparations now. Michelle Madison says, I am so glad I tuned in to let it be known. She says, I wouldn't get this vital information from other media sources. This is just, and folks want to, once again, I just have to harken back to folks saying she ain't black. I heard she not black. It's like, wake up, wake up. There's songs about wake up, everybody. You know, I mean, Teddy Pendergrass. Wake up. People got to wake up. This is just a snippet of what goes on a daily basis. I mean, the Durham situation is. You go to New York. I mean, there was something there a couple of years ago with the black firefighters too. But you go to like New York City, and it's like Irish. It's like the police force, Irish. And that's why it's even it makes it even more infuriating when you see somebody like that officer we talked about a minute ago, Goings in Houston, and targeting black and brown people. And not that they should be targeting anyone. You target criminals and criminals only. But it's not your job to murder even criminals. That's carrying out. That's being judge, jury, and executioner. It's to see this nonsense constantly. It shouldn't be an argument about reparations. Shouldn't be an argument at all. Shouldn't be a discussion. As I said, this study. I know what Mike V said about why a study is necessary. Only thing we should be studying is how to use the billions, trillions owed to black folks for reparations. That's the only thing we should need to be studying. Shoot, who says this? Was it Dawn? Run me my money. just run it. Just run us our Dell. But land also, right? Exactly. All that land that was stolen from us. And well, it just goes back again to the fact that um, slave masters receive reparations. Slave masters, slave owners, 40 acres and a mule. They didn't even give us the broken down mule, let alone the 40 acres. They took, and when we got some acres, they took it. It's just horrible. Folks, again, please go to our YouTube page, hit subscribe. We're gonna be taking our show on the road soon, so gonna be doing a lot of road stuff, and we want y'all to join us. Let it be known. So stay tuned for more details on that. And of course, election time is coming, so I'm sure there'll be some. Uh, we'll be doing some stuff there, and still looking ahead to inauguration. I know it's past the election, but looking ahead to the inauguration. Anybody got a hotel room in DC that they don't need? A good one, at least a 4-star, at least a 4-star, because otherwise we got to pay a grip. And then we're leaving. I got a complaint. A Let It Be Known town hall would be awesome, Mike V. I got a complaint, Greer. So we're leaving, folks, for Puerto Rico for our midwinter conference a day after Inauguration Day. How is that going to work, Greer? Jason gave me my information, my travel information yesterday or the day before, whenever he gave it to me, a couple of days ago, maybe. And I'm looking, I'm like, that's right. So the inauguration, we're going to be in Washington and then off to San Juan. So what are we doing here? I don't see the Tennessee Holler comments. Oh, the Tennessee Holler comments. All right, folks. We got a video for you, and then we out. Okay.
But we've got Democrats in Washington right now. And earlier tonight, one said, hey, people go to jail for these things. This is treason. We have impeachment. We've gone well over the line here, I think, in how we're describing this meeting, particularly when Trump Jr. is offering to answer questions about it.
Were you pointing to me when you said treason and impeachment?
No.
Because I didn't say that.
No, you said jail. You said jail earlier.
I said people have gone to jail for
Correct.
doing things even if they didn't know if it was right or wrong. So, but don't point this way and say that I said treason and
No,
impeachment.
but Senator Warner, Senator Kane, they've raised
yeah,
this
okay,
issue.
point wherever they're sitting because I'm sitting on this.
But we've got Democrats in.
They're about to fight. He's like, listen, point the other way. Don't be pointing that in my direction. And he was right. He mentioned Senator Kane and somebody else. He's like, yeah, okay, point that way. We pointing at me. Who you think you are? Don't you love when these panels they start getting all feisty? Orange G says Trump will throw y'all some paper towels in Puerto Rico. Enjoy. Yeah, we have our winter conference in January. That week of the inauguration. But yes, Mike V. Greer, you heard Mike V. Mike V speaks. You got to listen. He says the Let It Be Known town hall would be absolutely dope. Y'all gonna come out to the Let It Be Known town hall? Because that means we got to bring out all the big guns for it too. And that means Power 96. He's gonna have to leave the grill behind and the crawfish and all that. He's gonna have to travel. He's gonna have to go under that mattress or use some of that student loan interest that he gets from his son and get him a plane ticket and come wherever we might decide to hold that town hall. We should, because it's Mike V's idea. We gotta go to Mike V's city and hold it. That's what we have to do. Michelle says yes. Folks, it's always real talking with you guys in the morning. The news is amazing, depressing at times, scary at times. But to be informed is to be armed for what's this crazy, crazy world is doing at Black and brown people every single day, and women, and particularly Black women. So we're here to let it be known. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting us. Continue to, if you will. We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow.